Hello, grade threes. This is Miss Macaulay. I'm trying out something new today. I'm going to read you a story that I'm recording my voice and showing you my computer screen as I read it to you. I'm starting off though showing you a map. This is a map from the website of the Canadian Geographic Indigenous Peoples Atlas of Canada. It's a really great website with information about the different Inuit groups and has maps of where they're located. I'm showing you this map today because the story that I'm about to read takes place in northern Canada, in a region that the Inuit people live. And this map shows the regions that the Inuit people live in Canada. And these would be the territories of the Yukon, the Northwest Territories, and Nunavut. You hopefully can notice where we are located in Victoria, Saanich, which is right here. So, as you can imagine, this story takes place where it's far north and very cold. So, I'm going to be reading you a story that is from Epic Books. I wanted to read you a story that takes place in the north, so I did a bit of searching for the Inuit and Inuksuks, and I came across a few books. The story I'm going to read to you today is called The Gift of the Inuksuk. I've also seen the word Inuksuk as well, spelt a little bit different. This one in the story is spelled Inuksuk, so I'll pronounce it that way. It is written by Mike Ulmer and illustrated by Melanie Rose. I'm going to skip through this page about the author and illustrator. This page here, these two pages are written by the author as a foreword to the story, so it's a little bit longer than the other pages of the book, but it has some important background information about Inuksuks and their significance, so I will just read that. The flag of the Canadian territory of Nunavut bears an Inuksuk as its symbol. Once seen only in the north, groups of Inuksuk, known as Inuksuk, look down from roadside perches across Canada. In gardens and campsites and trailheads across North America and even around the world, Inuksuk bear a message from the land and those who have come before. You are not alone. A few stones can form a greeting, a guidepost, or warning. They can mark a tragedy or the scene of a great event. Inuksuk require no money, no electricity, not even a common spoken language. All that is needed is a builder, a few stones, and the knowledge needed to decipher the Inuksuk's message. The Inuit knew animals captured in the hunt were not game so much as allies, willing to sacrifice their lives so the Inuit can continue theirs. That's why the bear whose ribs supplied a hunting knife was often depicted on the knife's handle. Because obtaining the staples of life was never easy, the Inuit harvested only what was needed and used every bit of what they took. Connected to the earth, they used their gifts wisely and reverently. It is that spirit of connectedness that makes traditional Inuit life a model for civilizations around the world. It makes the Inuksuk such a worthy symbol for all. The gift of the Inuksuk is not an Inuit legend. Those stories belong to the Inuit people to tell. Still, it's my hope a little girl I have called Kalik can represent the wisdom that made the Inuit rich partners in the bounty that is the natural world. I will turn to the next page, and this is where our story begins. Many lives ago, an Inuit girl dashed through a land of snow and stones and caribou and stars. She was small and inquisitive and always, always running. Her father said she reminded him of the Arctic hare, the Ukalik. From that day, she was known as Ukalik. Ukalik loved to be outside, where she could juggle and wrestle with her brothers and sisters. Her feet would barely touch the thin grass that cloaked the earth in summer or winter's blanket of snow. Ukalik learned to gather cotton grass for the wicks of her lamps. Her mother showed her how to use bird bones for fine needles and the teeth of the caribou for ornaments on clothing. There was water from which to fish, snow from which to build homes, animals large and small, bears and seals, and most important of all, the caribou to provide all the Inuit people would need. Sorry. The Kalak and her family were grateful to the Creator for the bounty of the land, to the whale who brought blubber for food and oil for light, to the caribou and the seals and the bear who gave of themselves so the Inuit could live. Everywhere Ukalik looked, she saw gifts. Even the hardest ground would grudgingly provide stones, and wherever Ukalik's family lived, the little girl would stack the stones into friends. Some of Ukalik's stone friends looked ready to shout of joyous things. Some seemed filled with sorrow. Some pointed past the horizon or moved toward a lake. Through the long nights of winter or the endless days of summer, Ukalik's stone people rose, like sentinels, from the earth that had cradled them. When the caribou have short hair, they are ready for their migration to the south. As they did every year, Ukalik's father and brothers embarked on the hunt. They were only gone a day before a great storm drained the color from the earth. She missed her father and brothers and longed for their safe return. But Ukalik also understood the importance of the caribou. A great hunt meant ample food through the snowy season, when there is little game. It meant skins for warm clothing and new tents. Caribou bones could be used through the winter to scoop out the snow. Their tendons were made into thread for delicate embroidery. Every morning, Ukalik would wake hoping to see her father and brothers, but instead her eyes would fall only on her piles of stones. If only, she thought, she could use her stone friends to bring her father and brothers home safely. That's when Ukalik realized what she should do. She called together her younger brother and sisters. "Remember the stone people I have built?" she said. "They will help return our brothers and father." Ukalik and her brothers and sisters shifted one stone man only as far as could be seen through the snow from another. Ukalik showed the children how to put sticks inside the figures to create arms to point toward home. The next morning she heard a voice. "Ukalik, your friends show me the way home." Before she could speak, she heard someone shout, "Come quickly!" The stone figures had done more than guide the men home. They had brought the caribou. Ukalik waved her arms and directed her younger brother and sisters. When the caribou dashed for an opening between the stone figures, Ukalik would head them off, but Ukalik knew the caribou were wise and giving. The caribou understand that like the stones pulled from the earth that had guided them, or the fish speared from the rivers, they played a part in the life of the Inuit. The hunt was the best in memory. The night was festive and filled with laughter. The winter passed with many throat songs happily shared among the women. Soon a name was given for Ukalik's stone people, Inuksuk, or in the image of man. Inuksuk was a gathering of more than one Inuksuk. Ukalik would grow from a girl to a woman, and each year more of her Inuksuk would, like a moss on a great stone, spread across the north. Some would be used to indicate a dangerous passage, others pointed travelers towards home. Different kinds of Inuksuk were used to direct the eye to a distant place and to denote where there had been great hunts. Songs describing Inuksuk were composed by elders and passed on to travelers. That way, the traveler could find his way to his destination by remembering the song. To this day, Inuksuk wait for paddlers and canoeists beside shallow lakes. They greet travelers along great highways. They carry a message an Inuit girl shared with her father and brothers. a message between man and animals, between people or place and people, here within the bounty of the Creator. You are not alone. And that's the end of the story. I wonder if you have seen an Inuksuk yourself, whether you've come across one on a beach or perhaps you've seen one. There is quite a large one located in Vancouver, right on the beach on English Bay. So I just wanted to show you before I stop my video that if you're interested in learning more about the Inuit, there is a whole collection on Epic Books that has information, some of it's information, nonfiction books about the culture, and there is some stories as well. This book here, The Inuit, is a really great one. It highlights some of the traditional tools and ways of living of the Inuit people. Another book that's interesting and unique in that it shows the more modern lifestyle of the Inuit people. And this is about a small Inuit community, this book here. So that will be the end of my story and reading. Thank you so much for listening today. I hope my video worked. Thanks so much. Have a good day. And bye for now.